What's going on, everyone? So we finally got some more yellow support, which makes me pretty happy, because this is one of the most underwhelming colors that we have seen so far. Pretty much all of their effects have just been to draw, but now we actually got some different effects, some new stuff that we haven't really seen before, and it makes me really excited for this color and what potential this deck has. So the first card, as you can see on the screen, is Spellweaver Magus. She's a 4-cost, and her effect when she's summoned is choose an opposing Drago Shield and change its value to 1. So this is amazing. It can really hurt the red deck by changing their red 6 down to a 1, so their Pyroblast can't go off, or a Torch if you hit a Fort Burst. But it is important to note that it has to be a Drago Shield. It can't be a Drago Cross dice. So that is the only downside, but I can't see that being too much of an impact, because I do feel like it does put the game more in your favor by reducing that value. And then it also combos well with the 1-cost elf card that we saw a while back, where if it destroys a Drago Shield, you can draw a card, and it had 1 attack. So it pairs really nicely with that, letting you draw a card. But then this card's second effect is if it's green Drago Crossed, when this creature attacks, choose an opposing Drago Shield and reduce its value by 1. So you potentially wipe out the Drago Shield that you just reduced down to a 1. But I feel like that effect isn't as great as the first one. I feel like I'd rather just reduce it to 1 and then attack in with the elf card. Or even Tide Chaser could combo well with this card, letting you attack through their ambush. So as I said in the video with Tide Chaser, I felt like that card wasn't that great because of its low attack, but comboed with Spellweaver, I think that Tide Chaser could actually do a lot, provided you draw those 2 cards together and you're running yellow and blue. So moving on to our next card, we have Angelica, the Light of Logres, and she is a double rare from the pack, so going to be a difficult pool, but she is a 5-cost yellow card, and her effect is nothing like we've seen before, and it's amazing. So, if she is Drago Crossed, all of your other non-Drago Crossed creatures are considered to be Drago Crossed with the same die. So that's huge. Essentially, you're crossing all of your creatures, but only expending 1 of your dice. So if one of your forts go down, you could potentially put that dice on her, and then all of your other creatures are Drago Crossed as well. So I think the biggest part of this is that since they're considered Drago Crossed, they all get the +1/+1. But then this also combos really nicely with weaker cards that you don't necessarily want to waste that resource on, such as Merchant of Scrolls, where if it's yellow Drago Crossed and it attacks, and you discard a spell card, you can draw 2 cards. So you can potentially get a little bit extra momentum than your opponent, but putting that yellow dice on Merchant does seem like a bit of a drawback to me. But using Angelica with the yellow dice, I feel like it takes away that drawback and makes your deck a whole lot better because you're keeping those resources on the field. She also pairs well with Remus, the boss monster of the Mystical Hunters trial deck, letting you play a barrier from the top of your deck, provided you have 3 or less. But this effect is just amazing, and I'm pretty sure decks revolving around her are going to be huge early on. But then her second effect is if she's yellow Drago Crossed. If she's destroyed, you can choose one of your non-Drago Cross creatures and Drago Cross it with the die that was on her, and the value remains unchanged. So I think that's pretty awesome, keeping your dice alive. It'll be interesting to see if we get any Pyroblast or Torch effects for a yellow dice. That would make keeping the dice alive a whole lot more important. But as of right now, I can't see that being too much of a deal, aside from just giving it the +1/+1. But I think her first effect just makes her amazing. One thing also to note with her is that if you're playing a green-yellow deck and you have Eleanor out, she does kind of, Angelica does shut down Eleanor because you won't be able to destroy the ambush because she will consider to be Drago crossed. So the only reason to get benefit out of Eleanor is if you cross Angelica with the green dice. So aside from that, there really isn't much of a drawback to playing her, unless we get more creatures that have drawbacks when they're Drago crossed. But since that's such a big part of the game and the mechanics, I feel like that's not going to happen. So I feel like Eleanor is just the strange exception. But anyway, she is a 4/5, and when she is Drago crossed, she'll go up to a 5/6. So she can play pretty aggressively because pretty much only boss monsters would be able to take her out. And she even dodges Bloody Baroness because Baroness only destroys 4 or lower. So this card can survive a lot. The only things that could destroy it would be any of the boss monsters that we've seen, or if your opponent is playing red and they happen to roll the 6. But this card is just amazing, and seeing these new cards, it feels like red is still going to be powerful, but it seems like the other colors are going to be able to compete with it. So let me know what you guys think about this down below. Also be sure to check out the Dragoracle website and check out the Facebook page. I think we're at 893 members, so we just need a few more until we hit 900. And as always, thanks for watching.